Glad to have you back on this segment of Engendered. And if you're just joining in, you're right on time because the show is just about to begin. And if you're just joining us, you missed what Pamela said. She said, I have to emphasize the fact that she said that we're not discussing relationship today because I think our last 2 episodes we talk about marriage, relationship, and stuff like that. So away from that, that's not all that the female gender has to offer. So today we're going to be discussing something, I don't know.
Sensitive.
We like to say sensitive, important, is really important, and then people are already raising their eyebrows like, are you sure this topic is going to be okay and stuff like that? So we're going to be analyzing a particular topic in relation to gender and media. That is the topic, gender and media. And you're going to see the perspective or the angles we're going to get to during our topic of discussion. And I'm not alone in the studio today. We have a pretty, very pretty.
Pretty.
Let me allow Pamela to emphasize on the prettiness.
Pretty. When I saw her coming to the office, I was like, wow, who is this? But it's someone we've had on the show before, so if you can recall her face.
Okay, so we're going to be having, we already have on the show today Ayotomiwa Ayodele. She's the gender and youth development advocate. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Let me blushing, like, seriously. Thank you so much. It's so good to be here again.
Fresh. It's like this catch did not even touch you at all.
How we go do now? I mean, you have to just live with this. Like, okay, I mean, this is here. What will you do? You just have to adjust, kind of, and then thank God, cash is coming back gradually. Like, okay, it's you know, it's actually kind of good. It helps you to discipline yourself again.
I think
except if it's really necessary, that's when you have to spend. But if you don't, like, I can't stress myself to go and look. Even the process of getting the cash, like, it's not worth it. Let me just
do transfer for what is important.
It's kind of help us to be disciplined and to reduce unnecessary spending. You know, now women, we are so impulse, like, I think I have to. But now, even the banks, when you want to do your transfer, some network, like, this network,
is it really important?
Is it important?
Actually, I saved a lot during this period.
It's actually good.
Cut down some expenses that are very necessary. So it was really, it has its positive sides and as well the negative.
You know, like I actually told some friends, I said it's a good initiative, a good policy, but it's just the timing and the implementation that we're not ready. I mean,
exactly.
I think that was
by
just
surprise. Actually, people did not expect it. Even at the time where everybody was saying when the first time we were meant to stop using the old currency, everybody was not still prepared. They're like, it's Nigeria, they'll still postpone it, and eventually it happened. And during that, one thing I'm grateful for is that I never got the opportunity to go to the bank to collect number 260 something.
I did actually.
It never happened to me.
So I was going to okay, so a sister needed to do something in the bank, and then she's like, please help me. Okay, let's go now. And then we got there. We got to the bank. It's 25, and the tag I was giving was 287. You're like, I said, so the number 1 to 50. When did they get to the bank? It's quite funny. I was like, okay. So I just told her, I said, don't worry, you just let me go and do something else. So just call me when you think they started calling maybe number 250 or so. But I think after 2 hours, like, Alpha, he said, still 50 something, you know, like, not even. I said, okay, now do what? You want to stay? Better let's go back home. I did. It wasn't funny,
I
but
didn't stress myself. Like, if I try going to a place and I need cash, if there's no cash, I'm not going. If there's no, and do you know the annoying thing about it now? Both was also difficult to get because of the fuel scarcity. So even if you're trying to order a ride, it could take you like 30 minutes before you can get it.
You get it.
So if I try transfer, it doesn't work. If I try my boat app, it doesn't work, man. I'm not
just relax.
I just
relax, like, it's not necessary.
Yeah. But thank God everything is getting back to normal.
Better.
POS people.
Let's that was unnecessary.
Unnecessary. Some of them, their difference, they said the stress for them to get the cash was so
much. And then
I know I had a friend that stopped the POS business because he was like, I would not like to extort people because getting to buy the cash, he still has to put his own gain or something, to do the addition to get his gain. So because of the whole stress, he said, okay, let me leave it for now. But other people adding is because they bought the money. So that was their difference, though. I don't know.
Like, really, I thought about it. There was a time I wanted to withdraw, and some people were collecting 200 naira for 1,000. So if you're going to
collected 300 for 1,000.
I know.
so you can imagine.
Yeah, walk away.
And then now we're back to 100 naira for 5,000. Are you guys sure you will not come down to 50 naira? Because right now, like some people are just like, okay, I think we're laughing about it. I think yesterday or so, and we said we'd rather trek to Wuse than patronize POS because you guys, we saw Shege, you guys can. But well,
It's all good.
In the next 2 weeks, everything should be balanced.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes,
And
yes,
funny
that's
enough, the
open.
money, the amounts of money that was allocated to our new currency, and all of a sudden we're back to the old currency.
Like, it's
I mean,
just
that
so
conversation
unnecessary. Seriously.
Let's just leave it.
Let's leave it.
Serious.
Well, let's come and face what we are here for. So we said we're going to be discussing gender. A particular topic in relation to gender and media, and we're looking at the female representation in media, and this is the perspective we're looking at, the reportage of females in the media. We'll come and we see that sometimes when you open the newspapers and some of the stories that you see making the headlines, or people doing exploits or things, doing big things, are usually the males that are always reported. When you now come to the female section, you see things like divorce, you see things like rape, a child was defiled, child marriage and stuff like that. People or women making waves in the community or in the society, it's not really being reported. Now let me read an article here. This one says UN media outfits seek better reportage of women issues. So this says United Nations and another organization urged media establishment to give women adequate coverage, noted that the gender is underreported despite its huge contribution to nation building. During a media training organized by some people, they said the essence of the program was to bridge existing gap of alleged non-inclusiveness of women in media reportage. She noted that the event was to train media stakeholders in Ebonyi State as part of efforts to improve balanced reportage on gender issues and responsive reporting. She also went on to say that women in politics and leaders were not receiving adequate media coverage as their male counterparts across states, stressing the need to always portray women in a positive way in the daily reports, while urging women not to be discouraged in taking their rightful position in the society. She also explained that an inclusive and responsive and balanced reporting should be given for the female gender. Now, looking at this particular aspect, I brought our newspaper here so that we can do experiments if we want to do experiments. I think I was in a training once and that experiment was done. There are some newspapers that we saw that there was no even story about the female gender. Okay. And then there was another one where they wanted to talk about the wife of a governor, and the first thing that came, what was argued was that the woman is a person before she's a wife. So the first, she was addressed as wife of so and so governor,
an identity,
and wife of so and so governor before they now mention her name and what she does and stuff. So if you see it, even the pictorial representation of the women, it's not always, they don't always identify. If it's Pamela is a journalist, for example, some newspaper, they want to report who Pamela is, they say maybe she's married, wife of so and so person before being a journalist. Why do we have issues like that? You open the newspaper now, it's always, sometimes we do newspaper trending issues, and when we open it, we see so many stories. A woman goes to court for divorce, child has been defiled and stuff like that. So it's always the negative aspect that is being reported. Now we are having that particular issue. And the funny thing is that we, the women now, we are in the media. We are here, we are journalists. So why are we not even also reporting our own issues?
Okay, well, I will take it from the angle that the society actually, there's this unspoken or unwritten rule that women are supposed to be seen and not heard, kind of.
Yeah.
It's unwritten, so we just somewhere. So that's already shapes anything women, like, okay, I mean, let's just pass. I mean, focus more on the man, focus on this governor, focus on this DG, focus on, you get, like, yes, now we have women who are doing exploits and breaking the glass ceiling in their respective spaces. But because of the rule, that silent rule, kind of, okay, let's just speak. At times it comes as an afterthought. Like, okay, let's just add something that has to do with women.
Exactly.
And the way you take that up, someone will actually, I remember having a conversation with some friends about around this gender thing. Like, you and this your female thing. Like, don't you know that you are contradicting the Bible? I'm like, okay, how do you mean? Say, that in the days of the Bible, don't you know that Bible rarely mention women? That's usually the men of this, men of that, men of this, but women were there. So that's more like they were not visible. So, I mean, don't pay much attention to them. And the truth is, as much as we would want to say we have actually evolved to this point, we are still copying that template, even till now. So I think that's already in the silent, the unwritten rule around these things. But then, because of the stereotypes in the society too, it tends to, like, yeah, you're in the media, Pamela is in the media as well, but you can't do anything if your boss, who is either a male or a female, don't have the buy-in. So at times you're just like, okay, even if you want to push it, and the person you're trying, I mean, you have your line of duty before it has to go. So if the person who is your superior, who is supposed to clear something like that, don't have your buy-in, you'll be frustrated, and at the end of the day, you're like, okay, let me just let it be. So I think we can do better in by being conscious and being deliberate about it. Yes, the narrative is kind of changing now from what we used to have to, I mean, it's changing, and because it's better, but it can still get better.
In addition to what you've said, I have a report that says women who demanded coverage from media outlets were originally categorized as misfits or insane, as were perceived as departing from their traditional domestic role, just like you stated.
Yes, they're not supposed to
move into the limelight. You're meant to just stay behind. This is not really right. Now, how does this underrepresentation of women out there, how does it affect the society?
Yes, because it affects the society in many ways. So let's look at from the professional angle. We have women, we have back CEOs, we have currently from the last election, we have so many women who want their seat and the election as House of Assembly members and all of that. But because they are not really being reported, for maybe people coming behind the upcoming generation won't even have anybody to look up to. You get like, okay, the days of maybe the Abike that were in the NCA, the Tokumbo Ajayi of blessed memory and all of that. You know, you look up to them like, okay, I want to be like this person. That's something that motivated some of us. I'm sure if I ask you what, seriously, looking at the Tokumbo Ajayi back then, like, yes, I want to be like this woman. You know, because you had someone to look up to. And in a way, it actually spurred me to, okay, walk in that path. And that's is more like, and when the opportunity came, I was able to get into that field, in that sector to contribute my own quota to the development of the society. But if women who are doing well are not being reported, are being underreported, you won't even know what they are doing. Okay, look at, as of today, we have so many women DGs, we have so many women CEOs, but you don't even know them. You hear, in fact, I read a book recently, and the author deliberately mentioned some women in some space. You know, I had to go on Instagram, and I started searching, looking up their profiles, and I was like, oh, really? This person is actually doing this, this person is doing that. We don't even know about them.
We don't know about it, exactly.
And yes, they are, but so when they are in the limelight, it's kind of spur other people to like, okay, I'm not the only one here.
Yeah.
You're encouraged to go all out and be in that space as well. Like, okay, I mean, because you know the society has a way of saying, you shouldn't be this, you shouldn't be that. Yes. But when you know that, okay, you're not the only one. Like, okay, we are many. You contribute your quota and not just stay behind kind of. I mean, just like you said, like if you're reporting, okay, you have to mention wife of so person. You know, I had a friend invited me for an in-house hangout sometimes, and then introducing everybody, and then the lady's like, oh, this is somebody's cousin. I said, she has a name, for goodness sake. Like, she has a name, she has an identity. Yeah. You know, the lady looked at me, she was smiling. I said, that's the truth. You have to speak up. Okay, you are this person's cousin, but you are first you before. So, I mean, you have a name. So it's still part of the stereotypes and the way of the way the society has kind of been designed, kind of to make it look like, okay, you have to be behind this. You're not supposed to be. Excuse me.
Okay, now you mentioned something earlier about that even if we use Pamela and I as example, as we're journalists, now that maybe our boss still has to approve it. Now, some people have the opinion that some women shy away from being in the spotlight or from taking up leadership positions. That's why some of these issues are still lingering. That because some people believe that if more women are in that position of, maybe, for example, you write a story and the head of your editorial board is a woman and she has to approve it. And if it's a man and he doesn't like the story you have written, if it's a woman and she likes the story you have written, maybe because it's relation to the female gender. Some people feel like if we have more women in such positions, we'll be doing better. But some people also feel like there are women in that position, but they're not still doing better. So do you think it's a thing of women shying away from leadership positions that is contributing to this thing?
I don't think it's that actually. I think when it comes to leadership, it's about the person.
Okay.
Forget the women shying away from leadership position. We tend to say women this. The truth is, if you look at most men, they are terrible when it comes to leadership. I mean, apologies to the male gender. I mean, we are partners, we are still friends. But some are actually terrible, but they do this bragado like, yes, we can do it. Yeah, but the women will like, do I want to really fight? Okay, let me just be here in my space. So it's not just, and the truth is, if you maybe just a little push and you realize the potentials that woman actually have, like, oh, you are good at this, you are good at that. But because you upbringing, yes, it still goes back to the society actually, has created this, the woman is not supposed to be heard. You're not supposed to, you're not supposed to be heard, you're not supposed to do this, you're not supposed to do that. So you just feel, let the man do it, let me leave it to this person, let him do it. Like, I'll be fine. And let me just, I will support. Why do you need to support when you can actually take up that role yourself? I will support. So it's not, I don't think it's about women shying away from leadership. It's about the personality, individual here. I mean, by privilege, I know some women as of today. In fact, one of the state broadcasting station has a woman DG now. And she's someone I have been following online. I've not met her, but I've been following her actively. I know that, okay. The day she announced the appointment as a DJ, I was like, yes. I have not been to, it's one of the instances like said, yes. I have not been there, but I can imagine what she would do in that space. So it's not just about women shining away, it's about the individuals here.
Now the media are the forefront, so passing this information to the society. Now, what do you think they should do better? Or what do you think they are doing, the media are doing that they are not doing well? And what do you think they should improve on for this, for women to be represented greatly? Okay, let's start from here.
Yes, at least we have the opportunity to be on this program. It starts from the space. We are educating some people, we are enlightening them, we are actually motivating. Maybe there's someone somewhere and it's just feeling timid, like, I can't do it. I mean, hearing that you can do it, it's also, it starts from this. You know, women, we tend to believe what we say or what we hear sinking more than what we hear actually sink into our mind more. So, but consistently, like, okay, this is it. Then from the media space, creating women-related programs that would different. There are, in fact, a whole lot. It's inexhaustible. Programs that will have to do with women and proper reportage. Okay, for example, let me deviate a bit from what we're saying now, move to the GBV thing. Yeah. And you're talking about, okay, this person needs divorce, rape, and co. And then when I know that, okay, you reported this person, or this person had this issue, and it was reported, the person's identity was not protected. I mean, you know, that trauma as well. Like, okay, if I have the same issue, will I want to do that? I won't want to come out to the open to talk about it. So if there is proper reportage and covering stories that has to do with others, protect the survivors, not victims this time around, survivors' identity as much as possible. Give them the sense of, okay, it's for your interest, not just for, I want to sell my story. You know, there's a difference between I want to use you to sell my story and I'm protecting your interest. I want the Uizu to know what is going on so that you can get the right justice. That will give more women that confidence, like, okay, if I speak up about so, then that means it will be properly addressed. That will encourage more women to come out and speak. So that also needs to be taken care of. And I think, I mean, learning never ends. we need to keep learning, to keep building capacity as much as possible in the media to understand what and what. And I think another thing we tend to do these days is we just use a blanket template for everything. No, I think it should be about what is peculiar to what. With that, I think, well, my thoughts, I think, would gradually, it's inexhaustible actually.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's for now.
Okay, you mentioned something about when they mention some people's name, they don't protect the identity. Trauma. I want to give an insight here now. And this one says that the report that I read here, and it says it's giving an example of some captioning of some women in the newspaper and some stories. They say 2 recent inappropriate captioning of stories announcing the emergence of Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala as the Director General of the World Trade Organization, occurring recently, buttressed that this struggle by the media is global and requires an intentional and holistic approach. A particular, I think, online writer, they captioned it as "No nonsense Nigerian woman to be named boss in double first for WTO." That was the caption they used. No nonsense Nigerian
Don't
woman.
you have no nonsense men?
But was later corrected to Nigeria's Okonjo-Iweala makes history as head of WTO after a backlash on social media. That was when they changed it. But that was how it was actually captioned. Now that's just adding to what you have said. Now let's look at it from this other perspective. If we're going to be having more female journalists, more female reporters that would actually want to report these female issues, what do you think, or don't you think that the welfare of journalists should be looked into? Because sometimes you hear some people, for example, if we are going to an environment to report a particular issue and then there is maybe insecurity and there are stuff happening there, the male gender can find a way to survive. And there was, okay, why I'm saying this is because a lady gave an instance that when she was going on a particular investigative journalism, she was on her period. Getting to the place, there was no water, no access to good water, no access to, she mentioned some other things that they had challenges with. So she had to come back, she couldn't continue on that. Now, she would not said she was seeking for proper welfare for journalists. If they are properly funded, maybe they can be able to do better in this reporting. What's your opinion on this?
Well, welfare is something that has been in the pipeline, or has been on the forefront rather, for a while. I mean, adequate preparation or provision for journalists is something that I know the NUG has been doing a lot of that. I know Nawaj and even Ratawu has been doing lots of that. So it's not just, okay, so here, as much as my gender advocate cap is on, but I have to be sincere. Okay. It's not just about women here. It's, I mean, cut across. Yes, there should be special provision for women, definitely, but it's about everybody first. The welfare is paramount. It's when you are being taken care of, you will be inspired to do more, to put in your best, to do, you know, that, okay, you have to give it your all, not just out of obligation. It will be out of, okay, I enjoy what I'm doing. I am happy to do this. There's a difference between I feel I'm under obligation to do this, and I am happy to do this. Because if you don't prioritize my welfare, I'll just like, I won't give you my best.
Exactly.
I won't give you my best. So that's why I said I have to take off my gender cap here and actually talk about, okay, generally, yes, I agree that the welfare of journalists should be taken seriously. It's something that I know for a while there have been protests, there have been riots, there have been a lot around this, and you keep wondering, like, why is it taking so long? Why are we still at this stage in this century still talking about this? Yes, women should be given, I mean, considerations to, like, okay, because of our peculiarities, just like you said about that reporter or that journalist now, oh, she was on a period, that's also. So if you're sending a journalist to somewhere like that, you should, like, okay, at least, and they say, like, okay, what and what might actually be a hindrance, kind of, like, okay, at least in our own little way, if you don't have, it's understandable that, okay, this is what we can provide, than not even making effort at all. So I think, yes, I agree that something should be done in that regard.
You have to wear your gender cap back. Because now I would like to get your opinion on this gender equality leading to women not being represented properly. Because there was one scenario I saw, we had a new member in the office. So immediately she came, she was kind of, I don't want to use the word naive, but she was quiet and smallish. So they attached her to a staff, a male staff. So immediately the guy saw her. He was like, no, I can't work with this lady. I can't work with this lady. You cannot do my job. You cannot carry camera. Like, he just killed the girl's spirit. And she was like, no, I will not work with that man again. And she was telling me I will not work with that man. Don't you think this gender equality affects this issue you're talking about?
Okay, in this regards, I agree. Okay, now let me put on my cap.
Yeah, that's right, so you have to put it back.
Okay, now let me put on my cap. I frown at things like that, personally. Like, why should you tell me I can't do this? You have 2 hands, I have 2 hands. Let me be the one to tell you I can't.
I can't.
Not because I'm a woman, but because I feel, I mean, even as a man, there are some things some men can't do now. The other men, we see them now, at least we see, we see what they do. There's something, as between them, there's some things some would do that some can't do as the same gender. So don't tell me I can't do this because I'm a woman. No. In fact, when I hear that in our fight, I mean, like, what is that? You have 2 hands, I have 2 hands. You have the same brain, I have brain. I'm sorry, I tell some joking like, are you sure my brain is not even more functional than you? How are you so sure? So let me be the one to tell you I can't do this. Not because I'm a woman, but because I feel, oh, okay, I can't. So because maybe my strength or my ability, I don't have the ability to do this. Not, I found out if I want to be that person, that's when I will now actually do that to prove you that I can do it and I will do it better than you.
But you know, some ladies hide behind this reason.
Yes, I see it as laziness, and then is it laziness or, well, I'll say self-esteem to an extent.
Yeah,
you know, we're raised. Okay, so I always, anywhere I have the opportunity to say it, I say, yeah, my father is the first feminist I know, because we're all girls. So he raised us to be this, you can do anything you want to do. So with that, I have the mindset that I can do anything I want to do, except if I don't want to do it. So some were not raised that way. We don't blame them because the society is actually programmed in a way to like, okay, the girl, this is what you should do. The boy, this is what is expected of you. So you can't blame people like that. So over time, some outgrow it, and over time, some don't. So some, yes, maybe because the way they were like, oh no, you should be a lady. And you know, at some point in my life, I actually produced liquid soap and I sell. I don't have a car then back in Ekiti, and then I'll put my 25 liters of liquid soap on the bike to go and supply. As a lady, you should not be doing that. Excuse me. I mean, I have bills to pay. Even though it's small, at least it's, at the end of the day, I gather everything. So it's not just about hide. I can easily hide behind this and so like, okay, and let me start asking people to ask for money now. At least I'm a lady. I should not be doing. No, it's not. I think it's about the person. Individual. So it's not just about your gender. No, some hide behind it just out of laziness or self-esteem or their personality themselves.
Okay, so what are the ways you think we can be able to fight this particular stereotype we're talking about and represent the female gender properly?
Okay, well, you have to be deliberate about it. Okay, this program is here. I don't know how many female programs you have on your channel. I mean, there should be different programs. This program talks about, it's kind of broad. Maybe there should be another program that talks about skill acquisition for women, which will be properly reported. And then activities relating to women should be paid attention to. Okay, women are doing program somewhere, maybe it's talk show or whatever somewhere. I mean, should be given adequate attention in a way. So I think with that, the publicity and the awareness around, okay, what are women doing? Yes, and then we have to be careful not to look as if we are trying to take over from the men, because the narrative is actually there already. Because I stumbled on a verse that has actually stated that, okay, a part shall be lighting and all of that. And then that part, I just screenshot and post on my status. I feel like, you and this judge, I said, I didn't write the Bible now. Like, what is it? So we also have to be careful not to look as if we are in competition with them. We are not in competition. We are not taking over. But it's just about this. Give us our space. Let's do our thing. Don't feel because I want to, I shouldn't, because I'm a woman. You know, when I hear that, I'm like, what is this now? What is you are a woman kind of? And I had a fight with a police officer sometimes, like, it was actually interrogating some guys and tried to search their bag. We're traveling, like, tried to search their bag. Okay, I asked the guys, do you have any contraband? He said, no. We are now search. After searching, we're now trying to move them to a corner, I don't know, whatever, and like, where are you taking them to? I mean, it's a question, because anything can happen. You can have contraband in your one pocket and drop it and say, and implicate these boys. Where are you taking them to? Who are you to ask me this? A woman asking me, excuse me, don't be small matter. Hello, hey, a woman, hey, we have one. I said, just hold it there. And then it was a serious, like, imagine a woman talking to me. I said, you have a mother, you have sisters, you have wife. If you don't have wife,
children,
you have, you have women around you. That means you must really be around weak women. I'm sorry to say, for you to just anything. A woman asking me a question, where's that coming from? We really need to do more. Maybe storytelling, let women tell their story. That's also another angle to also improve this. Let women tell their story about what they're doing. I have one of my juniors from secondary school. She's in Abuja. She's an automobile mechanic. Oh, a lady. She does what she does in Abuja. I'm like, correct. So she's not doing it because she feels, but I mean, I can do it. She's in that space. So people like that, maybe identifying women who are doing exceptional in their fields too, and giving them kind of publicity, attention. Maybe let them tell their story. I've never asked her why she started doing that, but I'm sure there will be a story behind this. So things like that can actually help to also publicize what women are doing, and take away the negativity part in a way. And then we'll have to beg our editors and our orgas, like, please now, anything that has at least, yes, genuine and that is actually good, let it fly.
Talking about allowing women to tell their story, a report says only 6% of news stories highlight issues relating to the female gender. And the report says the lack of attention given to the female gender issues reflects the minimal exposure women's story receive in the media in general. That means the society also has a role to play. What do you think society has to do too? Because it's not only the media that is to do this job.
It's, each sector, each profession is actually a reflection of the larger society. Just like I actually suggested that we should be deliberate about it. And I think it's actually changing generally. Now you see, okay, awarding so in our schools these days, you see the girl child. You see most, okay, maybe out of 10, you see the girls taking like 6, and there may be boys in between somewhere. Like, okay, as much as it is good, but it's also dangerous. I mean, because it starts breeding unhealthy competition. So there should be a balance. Generally, I think society needs to be deliberate to actually raise the girl to believe, okay, you can be this, and not shut up. You're a girl, you're not supposed to. That's actually where it starts from. Once the girl wants to start, okay, I can do this, I want to, let me come out and, shut up, you're not supposed to, stop it, you're a girl. Yeah. That's actually where it starts. So it's gradually by changing the mindset that, okay, a girl or a woman should not do some things. If you think you can do it, if you're capable of doing it, why not? Go ahead.
You're talking about only the girl child now, it's touching me somewhere. Because as I was growing up, I used to just hear the girl child do this, girl child don't do this.
Yes.
But we also need this male child to understand. A man who understands that women are going through a lot, women are meant to be treasured, you don't even need the women to now be in this media profession. Men can just write a story of women and allow it fly.
Allow it fly, actually.
So the society, the parents, you have to train your girl child. Also train your boy child, because it has, like you said,
you have to create a balance.
You have to create a balance.
It shouldn't be one-sided.
Even talking about this thing, it also, like they say, charity begins at home. If, for example, she giving her own story that her father is the first feminist that she knows, I can now imagine why she has so much defense on, because right from the background, he has always been the one there. So now let's look at it from another perspective now. These female journalists that come, okay, let's for example, we see, let me use this, it happens to us, you're in the media, we're all in the media. Why do people just always portray, because I've heard people talk about it, that most female journalists are being attributed to
prostitution or promiscuity.
Yes, a whole lot. So sometimes when you hear some men talk about it, or even when you want to do marketing, you want to, maybe this, we need fine girls. Media, we need fine girls. That TV house, they have fine ladies. They always attribute it to prostitution. You see guests coming, and all they see is a lady that they want to either sleep with not minding maybe she might be the age of their daughter. Some people, some people have that mindset. It's happening, and now making the female gender look like there is nothing. You have nothing else to offer. Some people that actually come into the media space thinking that, oh, I can make it through. I will do this. I will do that. When they come in, I've heard some people's stories. Some of them they lose their morale. They don't have the ginger anymore because everywhere they go to, instead of them seeing you for what you are, your proposal, they're seeing for what is between your legs. That's what some people are seeing. So now, is it our fault? Oh, I don't know. Like, how do we change this narrative? How do we address this situation? Because it's happening. I've had someone tell me something like this. That's why you see ladies in the media, they're not getting married. Say, oh yeah, do a survey around your office. How many people are married? How many people are doing this?
I heard that a lot.
Yeah, a lot. They say it, like, even that some guys are even scared of getting married to ladies in the media. Okay, your job schedule is tight. They'll give you something like your job schedule is tight. You will go out to look for. You're trying to get your markets. You're trying to get big money for your organization. You have to do a lot of things. That thing is there. How do we fight it? How do we, literally? I'm not a prostitute. No, seriously, it's happening.
Okay, so I think this issue is not recently. It's not a recent one. It's something that has, I don't know, from I don't know when to call that. So I think, because I actually had to ask questions to, like, what is it? First, at some point, we don't really have much women in, you have women in media houses, but not like on screen or on air, but you have them in maybe the admin departments or the bursary or other departments generally, not like the screen. Like, why? Because back then, because most women that they employed at the beginning were maybe school staff holder or people who are not really educated. And then, at that time, the society actually pay attention to the male child, like, okay, you might have 7 girls, like, oh, they're not going to school, oh, I can't waste my money on a girl child. Okay, train the boy. So I think then they actually have more boys or male who are educated than, according to that was like, okay, now that we now have more women who are educated, who are competent, why do you have to do this? Okay, it has to be more of male and all of that. And then, because most of those women back then, according to, the story, because I had to question one of my boss then when I just started in the media space, like, what is it? And that was the story. I think it must have been passed down from someone to that person too. And said, so most of those women, if they don't want to move to another department, they have to sleep their way around. The society actually objectify women. Like, what is it? Is it not just to do this? And unfortunately, yes, let's speak to ourselves now. Women too. Some women actually give room for this.
Yes.
For goodness sake, develop yourself. Please. Develop yourself as a woman. If you might not necessarily that you go to school, you can actually learn the skills or something. But you should be able to hold your head high and say, we are equal. But because they see you as, okay, this one, she has nothing to offer, she's just empty. That's when this conversation around, and when you are going to say relationship, ask the lady, what is she bringing to the table? Excuse me, bros, what are you bringing?
Exactly.
It's not just about me alone. It takes two. So because they know that, okay, some women actually, there is this saying that when you dip a finger in the oil, all of the remaining 5 or the remaining 4 will be smeared. So because some actually, empty, they don't have anything to offer, just like we have in the male gender too. Yes. There are some that you listen to them and you're like, all this your fine look.
I'm telling you.
Tall, fine, 6-pack and all of that, and then you speak and like, is this all you have to say? So it's a mindset from way back, and generally it's not just like the media too. The banking sector too, it's always like, put the ladies in the marketing sector because when you see this fine girl and they're like, hey, we get this. And funny enough, even though we see that, okay, the awareness and the consciousness is now more rampant, but it's still happening subtly. So we have to come up with strategies, means to okay, you can't objectify me. They might see you as, what is this? She's a sadist, she's always speaking up, she's tough, she's this. Eventually, everybody will calm down. Maybe when we start really, really speaking against these things. Some ladies will conveniently do it like, if I need to sleep my way around, I will do it.
You know, some people will speak out and go behind and do the same thing.
Exactly. And if you speak out, stick to what you're speaking
That's
to.
the thing.
Please stick to it and let your yes be your yes and your no be your no. Some ladies would do it. The truth is, some men too do these things, but because we tend to pay attention too much to women, some guys do it.
It's true.
Like, that my oga, hey, now hot baby, this is if I can just get her like this, I'll start getting what I want. Some do it, but because everything is about women. Once it happens like this, we amplify everything. So I think we need to start consciously making like, no, I am not this. Yes, you may be tagged, whatever, maybe tagged that she's too serious, she's too, whatever. Everybody will calm down eventually, and they will have to adjust. I think when it starts from that, then.
Exactly.
As we round up, just a word of advice to the women in the media and those women who wants to venture into journalism.
Okay, well, word of advice to those that already use your platform to encourage others, to to do things that would spur other people to come into that path and feel comfortable, secure in the space. Like, broadcasting journalism is not a lion's den. Don't come there, don't do that. No, it's not like that. It's actually fun, and for those intending to come in, you actually enjoy it. It's fun, really. I actually took a time off and each time I'm in the studio, I'm like, you need to be back. It's actually interesting. I always say at times when I look at my pictures from the days in the studio, I'm like, studio is my safe haven. Like, I miss this. It's actually interesting, it's exciting, it's challenging if you want to challenge your mind, just like every other profession. So every profession has its challenges, just like you have the good and the bad. So it's about how you go about it. So
That's a really nice one. Thank you. I like the fact you said every
profession
has a
has
but I wanted to just chip in, say the negative part as well.
No, every profession has,
nice
of course. It's not just about the profession, it's about how well are you prepared. Be prepared. Don't just dabble into it because you want to dabble into it like everybody's doing, but know what you want. This is really what you want. So through thick and thin,
you'll be there.
You'll be there.
There's no difference between, there's a difference though, but our schedule is literally just like being a doctor. We're like essential workers. We have to be
there.
You say, what of people that don't run shifts? You want some people that have to be on, if you've not gotten to the standard where you run shifts, the schedule is tight. It's demanding.
But there's always a way around it.
Exactly. If you love it, if you have the passion for it, like she said, if you want to challenge your mind, there's a lot of opportunity in the media. And please, for we ladies, let's represent ourselves properly. Because I think, like they say, charity begins at home. The last guest we had here said, if you don't love yourself, you can't give out love. So if we actually want to see a change in our environment, even the way the men perceive us, we have to start from ourselves too.
Start from us.
Just like we say, most of the time, so some women will come out and they're advocates on the lips. They fight outside, behind they're doing something else. You see it all over social media. People have been dragging some celebrities for doing that. So, but I think you should be true to yourself. You can deceive everybody, but you can't deceive yourself. So that's where we'll call it a wrap on today's episode of Engendered. Do well to join us next time for an interesting episode. I remain Chidinma Ufomadu.
I am Pamela Ajaero. Be true to yourself.